Everybody, welcome back to the center lane. For those of us in the middle who just want our politicians to find some common ground and so we can move us forward into the future. I just want to talk a little bit about Trump 2.0, our 47th president to be, is coming in next week. Actually was encouraged a little bit by some of the local news that he is finding some common ground. It's kind of woken up the Democrats a little bit too, which I found interesting. I'll give you an example: the Lake and Riley Act for immigration, which that basically means is immigrants that are here illegally that break the law are going to get deported. Now, you think that's kind of a no-brainer, anyways? Of course. There's a little bit of controversy on it because if you're caught, say you're caught shoplifting and you're in this country illegally, yeah, you're held without bond, and you're going to go through the process, but you're definitely getting deported. Some people are saying, well, that's not so great. It's not fair. It's not how America works. But I don't know. I always kind of thought that if you're here illegally and you get caught doing anything, I mean, that's the chance you take being here illegally. You're going to get deported. So if you potentially broke a law on top of that, then that's probably which way you're heading, whether you're guilty and or innocent. So what's interesting about it is of several, a lot of the senators have, or the Democratic side have come on board with that too. I mean, I think what it boils down to is, we want to secure our borders. I think that's almost universal, even though, and we also want our immigration system fixed because we need immigrants. So we have to find out a way to do that. But to let people come over here, break the law, and no consequences or whatever, that's just not really acceptable to most people. The Democrats are kind of finally getting the message on that too, that's what people, I think that's a majority of how people feel. There's various degrees on. Some people are like, anybody comes across the border, no, they're all bad, evil people. And I don't believe that, but we have to make a way to make this work for us because you just can't have people coming and going. And we certainly can't afford just to support people too that, don't come here with no means. They come here with 5 kids, no money, then it's like, take care of us. That's kind of tough when people are struggling here already. So the bottom line is, I think that with that law, the Lincoln Riley Act, that's something that kind of is common sense. And I'm going to say kind of leading the charge on the Democrat side, which again I mentioned him earlier, but I think John Fetterman, the senator from Pennsylvania, has got the right idea with this whole thing. I think he is really an early, and now people are starting to kind of talk about, he could make a pretty convincing candidate in 2028. We'll see how things go, obviously, but he's meeting, he's going to Mar-a-Lago to talk with Trump. He's going on Fox News. That's what you got to do, man. You got to go. You got if you want to calm the enemy, you got to meet him at the battlefield, and then hopefully try to work out some things where you have some common ground. And I really applaud him for doing that, and kind of like becoming the pseudo voice of the emerging and hopefully changing Democratic Party, because if they keep going the way they're going, they're not going to win too many more elections here. So that's somebody who's listening. You got to listen to the people. And it's funny, but Trump may be inadvertently backdoor helping the Democrats out by being where he is today and how he won. And everybody's, how did he do it? How did he do it? Well, part of how he did it was he listened to the people, a lot of what people are, concerned about. And I think the Democrats just really, missed the bus on that all the way for the last election, for the presidential election, at least, talking about having a joyous campaign and everything's about joy. It's like, well, a lot of people aren't having a lot of joy right now. So you have to look at that and you have to acknowledge it. Now, if Trump could just get get rid of his worst angels, the using his platform and that tragedy in New Orleans, the guy drove into the crowd and immediately Trump starts posting it was some guy that came across the border and blah. Of course, he's totally wrong, but people listen to that, and Trump's got to stop doing stuff like that. That guy turned out to be a U.S. citizen, Army veteran, crazy guy. He ISIS, whatever. He was just mentally ill. Like, unfortunately, 99% of these tragedies that happen in this country are from just really severely mentally ill people. That's really hard to, when they're lone wolves like that on top of it, it's just really difficult to stop that. Another example is, the fires in California. Come on, Trump. Don't be putting out stuff calling him Governor Newscum and stuff like that. Yes, there's some things that California, it's going to come to fruition that there's things they should have done differently. But I'll tell you what, I lived in California for a while, and I've been in those Santa Ana winds. And first off, where they build these homes in the mountains and the hills of Malibu and stuff, the roads are like 10 feet wide, winding through the mountains. You can't even get a fire truck up there. And secondly, those winds, they literally are a hurricane. They're hurricane force. I watched the fire chief of, I think, LA County say, look, it's like being in a hurricane, which we have a lot of those in Florida, where the rain is going sideways. Although instead of rain, it's fire embers coming at you 70 miles an hour, just going where the wind takes them. Man, that's tough. You know, even only thing can put that out is a tsunami, literally. But anyways, there's some things they definitely did wrong there, I know, and those they have to hold the people accountable on the systems in place. They got to change them. But I mean, mankind in general, not to get off a little tangent here, but we got to stop building things too close to the water. I mean, look at Fort Myers. Got hit by Ian last year, 2 years ago, and they're rebuilding everything that got flooded out. This time, had Helen go through there and Milton over here, and things are getting knocked flat. We put the houses right back where they were. It's like you're not going to win that war. So, anyways, that's something that we as a country and as a world population need to realize. It's like, don't get too close to the water. Don't go in heavily wooded areas. Don't have little tiny winding roads up in the middle of nowhere. And when a fire comes, expect somebody to save your home. It's just not feasible. So, anyways, that's something for another discussion for another day. But but as president, Trump's got to stop doing that. I mean, it's time to grow up, man. Political gain on things like that. That's a big thud to me. Anyways, hold these people accountable that may have screwed up or could have done things better. Find better ways, but don't start throwing that stuff out there right in the middle of it too. I mean, people are losing their homes, etc. So, anyways, I think that's it's encouraging. Going back to that Trump, has really struck a chord in some certain things, and people are starting to chime in, especially the Democrats, which need to do something if they want to get their brand to a more palatable thing for the majority of Americans. So good job there, hopefully, and more to follow on that. I also wanted to talk a little bit about Matt Gaetz. He being in Florida, I mean, he's going to run for governor in 2 years. And, it's funny. The ethics report came out, he did all kinds of crazy stuff. He's a crazy guy. The party and all that stuff. I mean, it's pretty much in black and white. But he was smart to get out of Congress like what he did, because he wasn't going to become the attorney general. That wasn't going to happen. But it's smart to get out now and let all this stuff, the firestorm, hit him now. Because in 2 years, when the governorship opens up, he's got a really good chance of being our next governor. I mean, he's really popular with the MAGA crowd. He is. And 2 years, a lot of the things that are being said about him and found out about him now, which we're pretty much already known, will have subsided. Time tends to do that. People have shorter memories. And there's a real good chance that Matt Gaetz might be our governor in 28. Now, I don't want to vote for him. I want John Morgan, the lawyer. I want him to run as independent. He is total center lane. Good guy. He listened to both sides, kind of like Fetterman. That's the motto. I think that in the future, these kind of people, whatever party they're affiliated with, are going to do well. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but some of that has to do with Trump, the better side of Trump, the good side of Trump. Nice Trump, reasonable Trump, not evil Trump, not the guy that's calling names and doing all this nonsense and putting these kooks up there like Marjorie Taylor Greene. That guy, we could use less of him and more of the other Trump. So I'm hoping that, I'm sure he's listening to this podcast. Say, look, man, you got a unique opportunity. And I'll say this to wrap it up. America is the strongest country in the world by far right now. China's population, their economy is hurting. Their population isn't growing. It's actually going in reverse. India is now the most populous country in the world. They're struggling. Russia's totally struggling. Yeah, they got a lot of nukes. We got to watch that. But their economy is tanking, and this war in Ukraine is killing them. Iran just got, Netanyahu, Jesus, he's suddenly becoming a hero here because he took out Hezbollah, Hamas. That's still a big problem, and the way he did things, that's, going to hurt him. But he's really weakened Iran with Syria going down and Hezbollah and Lebanon going down and Hamas. That hurts Iran. So those countries, those three, probably our three worst nemesis, are really hurting right now. We have an opportunity to really lead, which we always kind of have. But if we play this right, and this could be better not just for the United States, but for the world, and a world with democracy spreading and things like that, this could really be something big. So, I'm optimistic. It's 2025, but I think that if we play our cards right and if we're smart, and that starts the president. So you need to get smart here, Trump. And in a lot of ways you are, and get rid of your childish behavior and just really buckle down. That we could really see some really wonderful things happen. So I'm optimistic about the new year. I hope you guys are too, and I'll talk to you soon.